and welcome on in. Hello, hello, hello. We're gonna rank all the Friday the 13th movies. Rib, you wanna come on in here, Rib?
Oh man. We are going to be ranking the Friday the 13th series in a tier list.
The 12 of them.
The 12 of them.
Ridiculous that there's not a 13th.
It really is a shame.
But they're gonna do it at some point, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
gotta
hope so.
happen.
When was the last movie?
2009. That was when the remake happened, which was a long time ago for Friday years.
This was one of the things we did during 2020. We watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the Halloweens, all the Friday the 13th, and all the Air Buds, just to cover our bases.
Yep.
This is definitely, out of those series, definitely my favorite.
Series as a whole. Yeah.
Of those four main horror franchises, this is definitely my favorite.
And I've seen a few other horror franchises in its whole, like Child's Play and Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw Massacres I've seen all of. Thank you, Jake, for all of those. I think this is my favorite experience as well.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite franchise for sure. You could make a good argument for that. There are better movies in Elm Street and Halloween and Air Bud, but I think as a franchise.
Okay, I forgot that Air Bud was in there. Air Bud's definitely my favorite franchise.
Oh yeah. Well, Air Bud's another S tier. The first Elm Street is probably better than anything in Friday the 13th. First Halloween for sure.
I don't agree with that. I never really gravitated towards the Freddy's.
I love the first one. Second and third I remember being pretty good. A lot of people think the third one is the best. After that he gets like really creepy and I'm not into it.
He gets really
creepy.
sexually creepy.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
But that first one is so cool. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, or Halloween.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Friday the 13th. Jason Voorhees. I guess spoilers if you haven't. Of course.
We're not going to spoil one single thing.
Everything.
We're going to talk in length about the 12 movies, and we will not be spoiling a thing.
We've watched this through like maybe 5 times through. We've watched through this series.
There's some we've only seen 3, but there's some that we've seen like 10.
Yeah.
So the first one is one of the ones that we've seen like 10 times.
I love how the first movie is supposed to be its like one contained thing, and just about every movie it seems was supposed to be the last one.
Yeah.
And then they just keep bringing him back, and it just gets more and more ridiculous until he's in space. Like 2
of the films have the final in the title.
In the title.
Where it's like the last Jason or the final Jason. Neither of them are the final one. Let's just jump in. We'll just talk about it throughout.
Okay.
Starting with number 1, which is Friday the 13th.
The original.
In 1980, rated R. Are they all rated R?
Of course, yeah. Almost rated X. And they had to keep being like cut down.
Right, that's true. But there were a lot of scenes that were cut out through these.
The first one to me is a lot of other people disagree or they feel like it's not a very good movie. It might be my favorite. The first one might be my favorite. I love its simplicity. I know it's just a Halloween like ripoff.
Yeah.
I love the lore. Like, oh, is this place haunted? There's this boy that drowned in the lake, and then some murders happened, and then a bunch of other weird things that were unexplained happened. Is the place haunted? And then you don't know what's going on until the end. I think that's really creepy. Like that to me in a horror movie really gets me.
I think it's great. And they toy with who the killer is throughout the whole thing. They've got a really amazing cast of characters.
Are they amazing though?
There's one.
There's at least Ralph.
There's one that's amazing.
Oh, Ralph's the best. The worst thing about this series is that they killed off Ralph in 2.
That is the worst movie mistake in all of film history.
He should have been in every movie. Ralph is hilarious.
He comes back and does some voiceover in 7, but him dying in the second one, spoilers, is just the worst.
Yeah. And the actor comes back. It's not actually Ralph.
Yeah, no, you're
there's other characters that are like a Ralph.
They desperately try to recreate him in almost every movie, but they never capture his magic.
Yeah, Ralph is the best. So I know a lot of people would say that this is the series where like the first movie isn't the best, and the first movie actually is not. It's slow.
Is
like
that
somebody
true?
acting. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the first one.
Like I would put it in S tier. It's my favorite, I think.
The scare at the end is the best scare in the entirety of the series.
Yeah, maybe in like horror movies too. Want to just put it in S tier and just watch the world burn?
Yeah, I would love to watch the world burn.
It's just the first one to do it. So like if there's other movies that come after that do the same thing a little better, but it's like I've already seen it. I already saw the first one.
But which one does it better though?
And
I don't think it does. Like there's a few that are like just as interesting that make about the same amount of sense. But this one has the best scare, I think, in the whole series. The killer isn't in the film.
Well, the killer is Pamela Voorhees.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So the series isn't supposed to go on after this. It's supposed to be Pamela and just Pamela.
Yeah.
And then Pamela gets decapitated. And then they're like, frick, it was so popular.
Yeah. Which is what's fun about these movies. It was just this like self-contained thing. And then in the second one, it's like, oh, I mean, now we're talking about the second movie, right? But like on the first movie, I love the simplicity of it. I love the lore that like, oh, is it haunted? Is it not? Is there anything supernatural in this movie? And then that scene where Jason comes out of the lake and pulls her down is like one of the, like maybe the best jump scare ever that I've ever seen.
But it's also, they ruin it with the very last scene.
Yeah.
If they would just cut that last scene out where it's a dream, I love that Jason is actually there. Because then you think, what timeline is that? He died a few years back, but he didn't, and he's just been living in the woods, and his mom thinks he's dead, and then he's watching her be...
That's the second movie, though.
Sure, you're right. Sure, movie. No, none of it is. You're right.
I mean, they should have just gotten rid of that last scene.
Yeah,
they should have just ended with him coming out of the lake. Which, by the way, we've met Ari Lehman, who played the first Jason, and we saw him just around Chicago. And I was like, I think that's the guy that played the first Jason.
And I was like, let's go say hi to him. And you were like, but is it really? And then on his jacket it says first Jason.
Yeah, totally.
He was so freaking nice.
Yeah. So he was totally cool with it.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic scenes in horror movie history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have so much love for the first one. I know that it's like slow. You see an entire process of one of the characters making coffee, for example. The policeman, where you see him stumble with his motorcycle on the way out. Like
the cop who like almost falls, and we watched the entirety of him driving in and out of the scene.
Like if I were to recommend this series, I would say like start with the first one.
This movie
I like
goes
its
in
corniness.
S. We're not putting this anywhere else.
Okay.
It's securely in S.
I love it.
The end is amazing, except for the last...
Except for the actual end, which is terrible.
The actual scene.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Pamela Voorhees is amazing.
I guess when I want to watch a Friday the 13th movie, I'm there for Friday the 13th and all of its campiness. Yeah. And this one, it just has a special place in my heart. It's an S tier for me.
Death curse.
You're all doomed.
You're doomed. Dude, I told the others.
And the fact that I had to watch a video about this to have this pointed out to me. But, like, the camp is far away. They say it's 20 miles. Ralph biked 20 miles. So just for Ralph, who biked 20 miles to tell them again they're doomed in the pantry, I think is worth...
That's so kind of him.
S tier. Yeah. It has the most Ralph, therefore... S tier.
Chad is saying some things. It set the formula for a lot of slashers. Yes, it really did. It feels like it's like a historical film.
Yeah. Something that I loved about watching it too is like I know about Jason Voorhees. I know the hockey mask. I know the machete. Watching this for the first time, Jason Voorhees is only this boy that comes out of the lake at this one point is terrifying. There's something just really cool to that. Like Jason isn't the killer in the first movie.
I love the workarounds they have to do to get him to be the killer in the second movie.
Yeah, it's so silly.
It's so goofy, but you just go with it because it works, and it's fine.
I love all these movies.
First movie is S tier.
First movie is S tier.
Sure. If you don't think that that's true, I respect you as a person, but not as a Ralph fan.
There's plenty of flaws to it. Like, also an animal literally dies on screen.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
That is the worst part of the film, for sure.
But it's a classic.
It's a classic. I think it's really good, and I think that it set the stage for the series. Let's jump into Friday the 13th, Part 2, which came out in 1981, one year later.
The movie was such a success. It made so much money on such small a budget that they just had to bring it back. It doesn't make any sense that, like, okay, Jason didn't die.
It makes no sense.
So Jason didn't die. He's just been living in the woods this whole time. Has he just been fishing? Like, how did his mom not know about him? That no one knew about him being there? But it sets up, another movie. And I would say that Baghead Jason, to me, is the scariest Jason. Not the, like, coolest looking one.
Oh, sure.
He's not, like, a movie monster at this point. Like, he's just a man living in the woods who's choosing to wear a bag on his head. He can't see out of that thing, and he continues to choose to wear it. That to me is really scary.
He's aware of his looks, and he's aware that he's different, and he's aware that people don't want to see him. That just adds another layer to Jason that is interesting.
That sounds kind of sad.
Yes, it is sad.
Yeah. He can't see, but he's coming after you with all his might. Baghead Jason to me is the scariest Jason.
The scariest part of this movie is that he runs the final girl. She's in his shack.
Yeah.
And you can see through the window, he is running at them.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
With his bag ahead, and that's scary.
Yeah, and his shack home that they find is pretty scary. He has his decapitated mother there. And there was an end, again with the endings. There was an end scene where she opened her eyes.
It would have been so cool.
It would have been awesome. Why did they get rid of that? And they kill Ralph, which is immediate F tier. Not
I
really.
hate that they kill Ralph. It is really. It's terrible.
He would have been so much fun in all the other movies.
We will get to this, but they bring Jason back later with lightning. They could have brought Ralph back.
Yeah, you're right.
Also, we got the luckiest camp counselor in this one.
Yeah, he's what I think of too. It's just because we've watched these so many times. They're like, oh, here's the character that's like the luckiest camp counselor because he gets away. He spends too much time at the bar. And we just never see him again. He just had a wild night at the bar and never came back and was never killed.
I love that he probably hooked up with one of the locals in the town. And like 2 days later was like, shoot, I got to get back.
Yeah.
And went back and there's just like police and bodies everywhere.
Yeah, this one time where like staying out way too late at the bar was definitely the right choice. Otherwise, I mean, it's a pretty similar...
So similar.
Again, they do like so many of the things that they did in the first one just again. Like even someone coming through the window again. The like fake ending, you know, but it's not nearly as good as the first. It's definitely a better directed movie than the first.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good parts to it. Like I really like that she's able to get out of her predicament by being his mom. And that really sets up that like now maybe he's just this mindless killer who is just motivated by seeing his mother die. She broke him out of it with the mom facade. It was interesting. It was cool. She was a cool final girl.
Yeah, she's great. This is the second one where she's like going into the ambulance. She's like, where's Paul? And also we're all like, yeah, where's Paul? What happened to Paul?
That's right.
Yeah, it's probably a better movie than the first. What would you say?
I would say it probably is a better movie than the first, yeah. I like the first one more, but I love this one. And we watched this one more than the first.
Do we?
Yes.
Really?
Anytime we put on a random Jason, it's...
Baghead Jason?
It's usually Baghead Jason.
Yeah. Where would you put this? An A? This one really sets up the template, but with Jason as a killer now.
It does. My heart tells me to put it in S. My head tells me to put it in A. You would put it in B just because you don't like Baghead. Interesting.
Oh, I like Baghead Jason. I think he's the scariest Jason.
I don't think he's the scariest. I think resurrected zombie Jason is the scariest.
Oh, really? He's not scary to me because he's a zombie.
He's just so yucky.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with A.
For now. Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Part 3D.
Part 3D that came out in 1982.
When I first watched it through, I watched it through with my friend Jake, who's a huge horror movie fan. And I was looking for cheese. I was like, I want cheese, and I'm going into this series more interested in it as like a cultural phenomenon than actual movies. I thought this was my favorite so far because it was just like so corny. Because it's in 3D, there's so many totally unnecessary shots.
Yeah.
Of just like things flying at the screen like yo-yos, and I thought that was really fun, and it was the most fun I had with the series. This is just the same thing, but now things are coming at the screen. It's
the same thing, and it's just more bland. We've got just caricatures of people, like the stoner characters.
Yeah, they don't even make sense to be there.
Yeah. There's the bikers. They are very caricature-y.
Totally.
There's the stoners. There's the main group of people, which is like the slutty couple, and then the couple in the beginning who's the crotchety couple who's fighting with each other.
Oh, and one of them's pregnant?
One of the kids is pregnant.
Yeah, one of the kids is just pregnant. It's just clearly a movie to cash in, and this was also supposed to be the last one. I have trouble remembering this one because it's so samey.
The main girl has a past with Jason.
Oh yeah, like retroactively has. I'm not into that.
Yeah, so she already knows about Jason, has a past with him, so she's coming back to like face her fears. Everyone else is just there for a trip. We have Shelley just doing a bunch of jokes and pranks. It's great because you get the mask.
Shelley, ironically, the character that we like the least so far, is the one that gives him the idea of the mask. I remember watching it thinking like, this is really interesting. Like this is now the Jason that I know, and how he got here is not at all how I expected it to be. That was cool. This has the third, like, doing the same ending just again.
Mm-hmm. Pamela comes out of the lake in part 3.
Which is like, come on now. Again? But I remember watching it, and that's what I liked about it.
I love watching this movie.
Yeah.
And as much as I hate Shelley, I love watching Shelley. He's so much fun.
I would say he's hard to watch. His character is so... Like, when he calls that girl a bitch, it's like, Shelley.
Oh, Shelley. But, like, then why is it so fun to watch? It's fun to point out all the 3D moments where they're like, wow, do you want some popcorn?
Yeah.
Here's a yo-yo.
It's interesting as a piece of movie history. That's kind of it. If you want this movie, the previous one, I think, did it better.
But I'd rather watch this than some of the later installments.
Oh, yeah. So this one's maybe C. This is the one that has the lowest rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Yeah, I forget if it was the audience score or the critic score. This has the lowest.
No way.
Yeah, this one's definitely C or D. I would say C.
Okay.
But there are also a lot worse movies in the series.
There's a lot worse. They take it into a new place in the next one. This one is just a lot of the same.
Yeah. All right, are we on to part 4, the final chapter?
I think we're on to the final movie, everyone.
The final movie. The video is almost done.
1984.
Yep. This one has Tommy Jarvis as a boy. The beginning of the Tommy trilogy. Oh, forget about Tommy Jarvis.
Doesn't matter.
This has Shelley. That's not her name in this one.
No.
But the same actor played Shelley in a similarly scary movie, Kenan and Kel, Two Heads Are Better Than None.
Yes.
Which was a TV movie that ended Kenan and Kel, the show.
Mm-hmm.
The Shelleys are a couple that keep coming up that was played by the banana eating actress here. So
she eats a banana on the side of the road
and then dies.
She has done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
We were watching the Kenan and Kel movie, and you were like, that looks a lot like that actress who eats the banana in the Friday the 13th movies. And I was like, it does. I have to look up and see if it is. That was an amazing eye.
Thanks.
Wonderful
Thanks.
job. This one also has the dog cut, which is my favorite.
Yeah, that's so funny.
We've watched it so many times that now anytime the dog is on screen, we woof for him.
Yeah. And just his inner monologue, you know. Boo-doo-doo-boo, I'm a dog. Boo-boo-boo, bark. And it's just always so funny to bring in his inner monologue whenever he's on screen.
He's just always singing to himself.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is quite different.
I like the family dynamic. There's some really awesome stunts in this one.
Crispin Glover's in this one, which is pretty cool. His dance is amazing.
They keep trying that dead fuck thing. I don't get that. I never thought that was funny.
Yeah, I don't really understand that, but they stay on that for a long time. There's the twins who are great.
Oh, and there's the guy who's like searching for his sister, but isn't in the timeline that happened like 2 days ago or something.
Yes, she was from the previous movie.
Oh yeah, so it was maybe like the day before. Why are any of these people hanging around Camp Crystal Lake?
Who's at Camp Crystal Lake at this point?
Also, there happens to be like, a family that's lived here the whole time, and then like a vacation home that these kids are going to.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's no camp this time. They're just like hanging out.
Yeah, they're just hanging out. Tommy Jarvis can make masks.
Yeah, at an extremely high level.
At a level that is unreal. I have been making cosplay for years and years and years, and I could never. He's just making them.
The ending scene of like Jason dying is brutal. His face sliding down the knife is pretty intense. And of course he's dead, never to come back. This is probably A too. What would you think? Maybe S.
This one has a lot of the same stuff that we've already seen, but they just do it in a different way. It feels fresh. It doesn't feel like it wants to be the final chapter. And that's so confident of them.
Yeah, it's right in the title.
To say it in the title, why did they do that? I guess just to sell tickets, maybe? I don't know. But
no, I think they wanted it to be the final chapter.
Did they?
I mean, Jason's face goes through a knife, and you see it. Like, he's pretty dead. His brain gets sliced in half. Like, he's definitely dead.
He's come so far from being a little boy in a lake.
I think right now the first one, the third one, and this one were all supposed to be the last movie. I would put it in A. If you've never seen Friday the 13th, and you're just like, I want to see Jason the way I know, like, hockey mask, fully formed Jason before he turns into a zombie and things get crazy and like they become comedy movies sometimes. This is that top. But I would put it in A.
I know. If I was going to introduce someone to this series, this is a great one to start with.
Yeah, because if you want hockey mask Jason like you expect him, before he turns into a zombie and like they really get ridiculous, you have this or 3. If that's what you want to see in a Friday the 13th movie and you only want to watch one of them, this would be the one.
Does it go in A?
It's either A or S.
Right. And then how do we have the nerve to have the first one up here?
It's my favorite. What I like about the first one too is that it wasn't what I was expecting. I love this in horror movies. The Shining is like this as well, where it's like, is there something supernatural going on? No. Is there? Is there something like that, like teetering line for whatever to me is just really scary.
Okay. It's definitely an A.
If you want a serious movie with the Jason that you know, number 4 is the best one.
Okay, part
5, A New Beginning.
1985. There are so many things that I like about this movie, and mostly I hate it.
Yeah. First off, biggest thing, Jason isn't in this movie. Some flashbacks he is, like, fully Jason.
Right.
But Jason is not the killer in this movie. The person who is such a terrible reveal. So uninteresting.
It's wild that they think that the audience is wise enough to follow who the killer is. You forget who this guy was. He was there once. The first time I watched it, I didn't understand what was happening because I literally did not remember him.
Totally. And they take the mask off at the end.
Yeah.
Or like you see him without the mask and it's the reveal, like the Scooby-Doo ending, and like, who is that?
Who is that?
Watching it again after you know the twist ending, I think there's like 2 scenes where the killer, one of the paramedics, just is inserted for no reason. Mm-hmm. Like at one point he says to a police officer, like, "Oh, are you talking to me?" No? Okay. And that's just like, just to remind the audience that he exists. That's like, and it also, like, his motive doesn't make any sense.
We start off and we are in...
like a halfway house, I guess?
Halfway house, yes. Yeah. And that's where Tommy Jarvis is, because after the last one, they think that he's gone crazy, so he's in a halfway house.
Oh, and it was, like, meant to set up that maybe Tommy was going to be the killer from now on. This paramedic guy whose son got killed puts on the mask to pretend to be... It's pretty frustrating, but there are some really great characters in this movie, though.
I mean, Reggie the Reckless.
Yeah, Reggie the Reckless rules. Ethel rules.
I love Ethel.
I've got a bomb on me. Like, she just casually throws in a bomb threat.
She's constantly cursing.
Yeah.
Constantly. And I love her for it. Amazing.
She improvised a lot and did incredibly.
Yeah, she is funny.
She is so funny. Her son, too, Junior, is quite the character. I love that robot dance.
The robot dance from the Goth Girl.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that dance. She's awesome.
She rules.
She does rule.
Things now in this movie get really quirky.
It's just so pointless. Why are we doing this?
It's like, who's in the mask? Because Jason's dead. They don't really set up that Tommy's the killer very well. And it's just the paramedic guy. I remember it just being too long. It's funny as a movie that it's like, he's dead, but we need to continue this series.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do a new beginning and it'll turn into like a who's Jason this time? I don't know.
It's either a D or an F.
I would put it in D because there's Ethel and Reggie the Reckless, and there's some great moments and some really fun characters, but the overwhelming majority of it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's worse than 3, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I would so much rather watch 3. This one is just like, why are we doing this? What is this here for?
Had to bring Jason back somehow. Part 5 was too long, just like our explanation of it. We're going to move on to what may actually be my favorite.
I thought you said 1 was your favorite. This might actually be my favorite as well.
Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Right in the title. Jason is back.
They're like, just
Jason
kidding.
lives this time.
Just kidding, he's back.
The first, 15 minutes of this is amazing. I love that he gets resurrected and he's fully a zombie now, or this movie seems to finally throw some fun into it and comedy. Even just the beginning, just the shots are so much more cinematic. Jason at the beginning looks awesome.
It's such a corny way to bring him back to life, and it rules.
Yeah.
It's funny, when you first started talking about the opening being so good, I was imagining the paintball scene that's right after the opening.
Yeah.
Really fun. So many characters in that just immediately die. So you start off and you're just going for it.
Yeah.
We have a different Tommy Jarvis, and I think that brings a little bit of freshness from the last one, which I just wanted to get away from. I like the group of kids that we have. There's the cop and then his daughter, and his daughter is very into Tommy Jarvis.
For some reason.
Yeah. She's
just
very
out of
into
nowhere.
him.
She just sees him in a cell and she's like, that's my type of dude.
I'm into him.
Yeah. It kind of slows down in the second, maybe middle second half. And maybe that's just because I've seen it so many times, because at one point this was very solidly my favorite because it's very purely like going for just fun. There's so much to love about this one. A lot of the brutal scenes got cut, which is too bad. Maybe my second, I don't know, it's maybe my favorite.
I know. It's up there for me too. It's definitely S.
This one is the first where the tone is spot on. It knows what it is and it's doing it really well.
Yeah. It's making fun of itself and it's aware and it's just...
Even good. At points like characters talk to the camera.
Yeah,
like the
cemetery guy.
Yeah. It's like some folks have a strange idea of entertainment and he says it right to the audience. The ending is really, really awesome. There's some awesome stunts in this too. Awesome makeup effects. I love Jason as a zombie. This just rules.
Yeah. It ends too with him chained by his neck at the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
It is. And then his eye opens up, which clearly wasn't underwater. If you just want to watch one, and you want to watch the most fun one,
and you want a sense of the series,
this one's just really, really fun. S for sure.
Yeah.
This is hard.
I know.
This is tough.
I'm afraid that people are judging me, but I am speaking from the heart.
I think there's no way to do this without being judged. And especially horror fans are like really like, they're really passionate.
Which is the best.
Yeah. I feel like now is where the series starts to really take a dive. Friday the 13th. Part 7, The New Blood. To my understanding, they wanted to do Jason versus Carrie, but they couldn't, so they came up with The New Blood, where there's this character that has psychic powers, which I never really liked. Like, I don't like that there's other, like, supernatural things other than Jason. Like, in the last one, he's a zombie, which I think is fun. And now, like, characters can just have psychic powers.
I love that that's a step too far, but it's a step too far.
The 7th one, I will say on positives, is the coolest looking Jason for sure. Yeah. Like, you can see the skeleton.
Jason in this is really cool. It's Kane Hodder's first time as Jason.
Yeah. He's really like cool. The most iconic person who played him. And the ending is incredible. I just don't really care about the characters before that. Like,
I don't like the mean doctor trope. Growing up, I went to a lot of doctors, and I don't want to watch a mean doctor. The desperate mom and the daughter is just like, oh, it's like a sad thing. I don't care about how she killed her father with her mind.
Yeah, and then the father comes back, like, not as a zombie.
Oh like, my God, what is that? Why does the father come back and help her? That's so dumb.
I don't care about the other characters. The ending is really, really awesome, and Jason looks amazing, but I kind of forget the rest of the movie, honestly.
There's an amazing makeover scene. Love a good makeover.
And then she just dies.
She does, and it's super sad. There are some cool kills. Sleeping bag kill. It's a really good one.
Oh, yeah. Jason was supposed to hit the person in the sleeping bag a bunch of times, but it was just one.
Because it got cut, right?
Yeah, because it got cut. They would give it an X rating otherwise.
The mom's hair.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Truly magnificent.
Truly amazing.
And it is the most 80s ozone-killing hair you've ever seen in your life.
Tamara's made like a few collages to remind us of what happens in the movie, which is kind of important to do with Friday the 13th because they kind of meld together.
So many characters.
But this one, the title, you have Part 7, The New Blood, 88, Ralph voiceover. The actor who played Ralph comes back to do a voiceover here, so that gives it points.
He's so good.
You're all doomed.
Doomed. I love what he does with his eyes and his lips. God, I love him.
Or when he goes away in the bike. And then looks back at them.
It's very Wicked Witch vibes from Wizard of Oz. It's definitely worse than 3 for me, but it's definitely better than
5 for you?
Yeah.
5 throughout, there's a lot of fun characters. And this one, I just don't care about any of the characters other than Jason.
I do like the characters in 5 more.
It's definitely D then. Like, if we're both putting it above and below 5, and 5 is D. It's D.
I don't want to watch this or 5 again.
I would rather watch 5.
Really?
Yeah, I would rather watch 5. This one is just no fun until the end. We're on to Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes a Boat to Vancouver. If it was called that, I would rank it a lot higher, but it's called Jason Takes Manhattan, which is just not what happened. Apparently they had an original script that was all in New York with a lot of really, really fun scenes. Because of budget constraints, he's in Manhattan for like a few minutes.
Is it minutes? I thought it was shots, like literal shots. You get the one of him in Times Square, and then that's really it. Everything else is Vancouver.
Well, mostly the boat. Yeah, most of the movie is on the boat. If it was just Jason Takes a Boat, it'd be like, that's great, because that's actually kind of cool, I think. It's kind of interesting. But
it's like snakes on a plane.
Yeah, like, that's fun.
Yeah. It's a fun idea to have him on a boat, killing people on a boat. That rules. Yeah. You're just wondering when he's getting to New York.
Yeah. I love the character with the guitar. She rules.
Also, Crystal Lake connects to New York.
Apparently, yeah, Crystal Lake connects to the ocean. Jason swims from a boat onto another boat.
For someone who died, supposedly almost drowned, he is a good swimmer.
Yeah.
He's really efficient.
It's fun that at one point someone just gets their head punched off by Jason, but this one's F for me. This is frustrating.
I want to like it so much. It's just not fun.
I don't like the teacher character at all. Oh, and then there's like the sexual assault scene. Remember?
Oh my god, yeah,
Lame.
that's right.
Watching this is like, okay, when does he go to New York? Where's all the fun stuff in New York? Hey, he's finally there. Okay, now, oh, and then he goes in the sewer?
The sewers.
And then the toxic sludge that, you know,
oh my god, I forgot about
fills the New York sewer.
Every night at midnight,
Every
folks.
night at midnight, there's just toxic sludge that just goes through all of... And then he melts and then turns into a child.
I forgot about the sludge. That's such a funny plot point.
This is F tier for me. This one is hard to watch.
This next one, I don't remember it. We just rewatched it. Part 9, Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. And it came out in 1993.
I like that it's the final Friday.
It's 1993. We got it after 89 was the last one.
Oh, wow.
This is the biggest gap so far.
This is my least favorite.
I don't remember what even happens in the film.
It almost feels like another movie was already existed and they just threw in Jason. Okay, so in this one, Jason dies right at the beginning. In a fun scene at the beginning where like he blows up because he was like tricked into... So I don't know how he got back from like being sludge in New York back here, but he's just in this sting operation. That I think that intro is really fun, and then Jason just isn't in the movie for the whole movie again. He turns into a creature that like
the worm
infests other people's bodies, and there's all this like new lore,
so
like
much new lore.
Duke something, Duke Silver.
No,
that's Ron Swanson's saxophone playing. I actively don't like this one. This one bothers me throughout the entirety of it, except for the beginning.
Creighton Duke.
And who, like, is snapping that guy's fingers for some reason.
Why is he snapping
why
his
is he doing that?
fingers? He is, like, the best part, though. Like, he is one of the better parts of the film. It's just a bad film.
And he just comes in knowing all this extra lore that doesn't make any sense.
Where does the lore come from? Now somebody in his family has to kill him.
And he has a sister. And he has a house.
Now. Yes.
Like, he has his childhood home.
No, he doesn't.
The Voorhees out. Like, what?
No,
and there's the Necronomicon in it. Like, there are some really, really great effects. They're just effects for a movie that I just don't want to watch.
Yeah. It just feels like they were like, all right, it's about that time. Let's do another Friday movie. What should we do? And someone was just high on acid. It was like, he's a worm.
Yeah, that infests other people's bodies. This is F tier for me. This is my least favorite. Here we have another coroner who decides to eat Jason's heart, which then puts Jason into him, and then he starts killing people. It's just not a Friday movie, except for that beginning.
Oh, it's way worse than Manhattan.
It's my least favorite. This movie is for someone. It's just not for me. Jason X.
Came out in 2001.
For this one and Jason Goes to Hell, they didn't have the rights to Friday the 13th. Oh, so this is just Jason X.
Yes.
There is no Friday the 13th because they didn't have the rights to that name. This one, I love that it exists. There's this small town, this local legend, ill-fated campground of this boy that drowned there. So many iterations. Now that boy is in space. Like, I love his Power Rangers suit.
Oh, yeah.
The CGI is terrible.
When you talk about this movie, when you talk about Friday the 13th, everyone is like, and then he goes to space.
Yeah,
like,
I love
always, that. It's so fun. But I do think that there's a lot more they could have done. I would have liked it if they had made other choices.
I think Uber Jason is cool. I like that hockey was outlawed in 2024, so we only got a few days, everybody.
If I were to cosplay anyone in this entire series, it would be Power Rangers Jason. He's so cool. I love that it's supposed to be futuristic, but it's so clearly early 2000s fashion. I love the badass hot female robot. I love the girl who is wearing a shirt that's like, it's just like open. So impractical, so hot. Love it. Love the main girl. I like this movie. I like the idea of this movie. It's not my favorite. I wouldn't throw this on before 6.
Oh, no way. It all kind of looks like a TV movie, too.
Yeah,
it's just not that fun.
It's
and like
very Xenon Girl of the Future.
Yeah. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Make my heart go.
Boom, boom. My supernova girl. Yeah, if this had a crossover with Xenon,
then it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'd bring it up. There's some of the humor, like someone gets killed on like a corkscrew and spins around and then like he's screwed, they say, but it just doesn't really land.
I think it's a C, but I think that it's after 3.
The liquid nitrogen.
The face smash.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Oh, you mean the best kill in the entire series, Rib?
Yeah, some people would say that. There's validity to that.
Yes,
but
it's an amazing kill. Very sci-fi.
This one's D to me. Maybe even F.
Really?
Yeah. What would you say?
Oh, I would securely put it right here.
Oh, yeah? It's C?
Way better than these two. I would never pick these two over this one. Never.
Now that I'm seeing it, I would rather watch A New Beginning because of the fun characters. Reggie the Reckless's dad.
I never want to see... Okay, can we talk about the boundary that Reggie the Reckless puts out and his dad just listens to it? Reggie's like, hey, don't like hug me or something when my friends come up. And the dad's like, okay, it's the cutest thing in the world.
I love their relationship. I would rather watch that one than this. For sure. Junior on the motorcycle screaming. Like
I disagree.
Yeah. I mean, I would put Jason X below, but this isn't my Twitch stream.
The Carrie one? Would rather watch that one than Jason X.
I would put those as the same. I would put A New Blood above. It's interesting that we don't have anything for B.
If this were wholly mine, I would do this.
I mean, it is your Twitch channel.
This is what I would do.
I would rather watch 3 than X.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I would switch X and 5 here, but it's not my Twitch stream. Is this my Twitch stream? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think it is.
So we can do this. If you want to put 3D and B,
I think 3D could be B.
I don't think it's B.
I'm not going to put this one underneath these two. Yeah, I can't.
I would put it in between them.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I hate these two movies.
Oh, really?
I don't
so you
like them.
Would you put those in F? Because do you hate Jason Takes Manhattan?
I think I would do that. Yeah. Actually, I would do that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I don't like Jason Takes Manhattan.
Maybe this?
Okay, now you're just being contrarian.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan frustrates me and bores me. Jason Goes to Hell just makes me uncomfortable the whole time. Carrie's boring except for the end. 5 has some fun, quirky characters, but it does have some
Jason
fun
in it. I don't care about the characters.
Yeah. You don't care about Reggie the Reckless.
If we are ranking these as
you don't
Friday
care about
the 13th
Reggie the Reckless's
movies,
brother and girlfriend. You don't care about those damn enchiladas.
What those damn enchiladas?
Ooh,
God.
baby. Ooh. But again, those are moments.
Ooh,
like
baby.
5 has some really high moments. Ultimately, it's disappointing.
Disappointing. He's not in the film.
Yeah.
And like it has a Tommy Jarvis that's never in it again. There's 3 different Tommies. It's the middle Tommy. It's the worst of them. Like, it's the worst.
I got a bomb on me.
Okay, I love that line.
All right, we can move on. I'm comfortable putting that in C.
I don't think you are.
My that it exists brings it up. That Jason Goes to Space, I love. So now we're at Freddy versus Jason, the mashup that was destined to happen for so long, even teased in Jason Goes to Hell. I'll say Jason being in Freddy's dream world isn't so interesting to me. He's afraid of water, which doesn't make any sense. He's in water in a ton of the movies. He has no problem with water at all. But when Freddy is in the real world and the metal music starts and they're like, we're doing this, all of that is awesome.
Incredible.
That finale when they're actually together, like that is what we signed up for. That's just not much of the movie, and I don't care about the other characters. I don't like this early 2000s.
2003.
Like, everything is color corrected to be like, kind of hurts to look at a little while because the contrast is so high.
I liked this one more than you did.
Yeah, I don't like Freddy vs. Jason.
You don't like the early 2000s in horror film mode.
Yeah.
It's not your thing. And all the characters are very early 2000s. They're so, like, holy hell. They're so early 2000s. The cop has, like, white tips.
Yeah.
It's like a cookie cutter early 2000s movie. And I remember seeing this in high school.
In 2003, you were 12.
Don't tell me about my life.
You were in 7th grade.
Okay, so then I didn't see this when it came out, but I saw it in high school then. It's imprinted on my brain. I remember it so well. It's just got a soft spot. And I agree. I love the fighting.
Yeah. How in every Friday the 13th movie, Jason throws someone through a window, and in this one he takes Freddy, bashes him through a window, and then just runs with him where he's breaking all the windows. That's hilarious. I don't care about these characters. I don't care about the new storylines. The CGI is terrible. I don't like how creepy Freddy is. He's just so...
sexual?
Yeah.
It's off-putting.
Yeah, I don't
think
like
that
this
I'm
one.
a prude, but like, it's pretty off-putting how gross Freddy is.
Yeah, I love Freddy in the first one.
Freddy's thing is so cool that like he can get into your dreams and you don't know if you're dreaming or not. That is definitely the most interesting part of this movie, and it has nothing to do with Jason.
In the original Elm Street, right? I feel like they took that dream concept. It was so interesting and done so well, and there were so many practical effects. Like, okay, here's a good example of the difference between these. In the original, there's that iconic scene where she's in the bathtub and then you see his claw come out from the tub.
Yeah.
Terrifying. And it also like is unsettling because like, oh, there's a really sharp knives like near her crotch. Like this is really unsettling. But in this one, they do that same thing again, but instead of the really, really creative shot with that as an element, he's literally just holding her down and like putting her knives towards her crotch. Like it's just gross.
It feels like in both series, it's got to that point where it's just like, let's do the most shocking thing. It's very early 2000s goopy. Like it's a goopy time.
There's a lot of goop.
Which I don't mind, but you don't love.
It's just a lot of pudding sounds. We did it with Jake, my friend Jake, who's really into horror movies, just made a horror movie, and our other friend Rob did the sound effects, and for a lot of the blood, he just played with pudding. And so this one, it just sounds like a lot of pudding noises. There's just so much goopy pudding.
Watching them fight each other is the best.
I just don't really care for the whole rest of it. I would put this one in D. I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I've watched some ranking videos about these movies, and this one is often pretty high.
This is such a personal preference thing because you just don't like early 2000s.
For me, like, Friday the 13th is fun when it's like the practical effects 80s,
the very 80s,
yeah.
You're looking for an 80s experience.
Yeah, the CGI like slug, the CGI takes me out of it. Anytime there's CGI on screen, maybe I'm just an old man, I just don't like it. It completely takes me out of the story.
That is the most old man thing you've ever said.
Modern CGI where you don't notice it, like that's different.
I like it because it's something that they wanted to do for so long in the series.
Yeah,
for years and years and years. I think they did a pretty good job with it. I don't know what I would have changed.
Yeah, I don't know how I would make it better, but again, now we're really going far away from like there's a boy who drowned in the lake once and this place might be haunted.
Yes, we are.
When there's metal music playing, not just because I love metal music, it indicates like, all right, this is what you came here for, then it's great. It's D for me. I don't like it.
Okay, so for me, these three movies, not so much Manhattan, but these three down here, I'd never want to see them again.
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason, I would definitely watch again.
What would you put this if I had no input?
If you had no input in this list, I think I would do...
No way.
Hold. I think I would do this.
And the original would still be the top?
I think this is my list.
Cool. Well, we can make your list and then maybe I'll do my list.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
that. We differ a lot on these now.
Final film.
The 2009 remake.
Friday the 13th, which is a retelling of 1, 2, and 3?
Basically, the first movie is right at the beginning with the like kind of flashbacks, which I think is cool. Shows young Jason watching his mom get decapitated, but he was drowned in the lake a long time ago from that, but it just doesn't make any sense. I don't like these characters.
I feel the same way that you feel about Freddy vs. Jason about this one.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as fun as the 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Jason is pretty scary in this. Like, he looks really scary, and he's way more real. Like, he's way more of just like a real person, a real like hermit person who has a piano where he lives. I would love to know if Jason plays piano. Is the piano in tune? Does he like meticulously tune it? He doesn't take care of anything else in this place, it seems.
I wonder, does he play anything else?
Clean. What if he has his own music? What if he in this universe of Friday the 13th? What if he like has his own songs? I want to hear those songs.
I don't like this movie.
A lot of people put this like as some of their first ones.
Really?
Yeah, some of their most favorite. I would maybe put this at C, just right in the middle.
I guess the way that I'm judging these are how I would like to watch them again.
Yeah.
Like in what order?
And I don't really want to watch this one again.
I don't.
I want to watch it more than Freddy vs. Jason, for sure. I hate how it cuts to white at the beginning. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Stop cutting to white so much.
Why would you do that? I would say it goes in C.
Some of the characters are really annoying. There's that guy that has a t-shirt that says "Fuck Christmas" on it. Like, that's a character that is what millennials are, like, to my grandfather, you know?
Yes. This is my list.
You're totally comfortable with this. This is a big deal.
You made me scared now. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got 6.
Yeah.
And then 1.
All right. Okay.
And then we've got 4.
4.
And then 2.
Yep.
3.
So that's your list, huh?
I don't... I would put this here.
Wow.
Yeah, that goes there.
Yeah.
I love the boat scenes. I just think they're fun. This is my
your
list.
Awesome.
This is my list. I want to see yours.
Okay. What do I want to watch? For me, that's the first one.
Okay.
As a fan of the series, and it's just placed in like horror movie history, that's the one I most want to watch.
Yeah.
Just barely. Oh man, or maybe it's not over. I think my idea of the first one is different than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, I'm just imagining that last scene isn't there. Jason comes out of the boat, drags her in.
End.
After that, the amazing music, that music like captivates me. It just barely nudges over Jason Lives, which I think is a better movie. It's maybe the best made, I'd say. The first like 15 minutes or whatever was that level of engaging throughout, it'd be S tier, like hands down. I feel like it falters in the middle. There's some scenes that were just added in later because they needed more kills, for example, like the...
Oh, that couple that gets killed? Yes.
They weren't in the original movie and they were like, we need more people to die, and then they just threw them in there. I want to watch the original more than 6.
Okay.
That's without a doubt. After 6, 4, and then 2, then let me see. I'll go by the other side first. Jason Goes to Hell is my least favorite, without a doubt.
We're working our way up from the other.
Yeah, and then Jason Takes Manhattan.
Okay.
This one actively upsets me. This one I just don't want to watch. This one is boring, but it has a great ending. 5 has a lot of great characters. I don't want to watch the remake. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Papa.
No, he's taking over the show. Now I need to place these mid-tier ones. Would I want to watch Carrie or X? I would rather watch Carrie.
Really?
Yeah. Freddy vs. Jason. No, I don't want to watch it. I kind of want to watch the new one. And I do want to watch 3. Man, this is hard. Because I also love this series so much, but a lot of them are right now.
The overwhelming majority is in D and F, and like we have none in B and C.
I'm just putting them in.
So it's just either
I'm just
really
getting
bad.
I would put a New Blood in C. I would put the Carrie one in C. The third one, jeez, this one's just boring. This one's fun, and then maybe 5 I would put above 3, because it has some fun characters.
Above the third movie?
Above the third one. No. That this one is maybe this. Got them evenly. Do I like the third one more than A New Blood?
We've seen the third one a lot. We saw it in 3D.
I like the third one more than A New Blood.
Yes.
Do I like the New Blood more than... No, I like this one more. This is my list. This list is blowing me away. Oh yeah?
Yes, I really respect that it's 2 in each. I think that that's very nice.
Just keeping it
really fast.
This is my list.
Can you imagine us doing this with Air Bud, but doing it as intensely, and somebody has to go in F?
Yeah, Air Bud I think would just go by the
S.
movies. Yeah, all S tier. All the Air Buddies are F.
Yeah,
they're not canon. No. Yeah, this is mine. This one, I don't know. It's so bad that I kind of want to put it here.
I want to watch that one.
Yeah, maybe I do want to watch. Well, no, it's pretty boring. And it's kind of stupid. I would put it like here. Yeah, I could see it being here or here. I'm keeping it here. I would be really interested in Jake's list.
All right, real quick. Rob asked me for my rankings, so we'll plow right through them. Friday 1, S tier. It's still the best classical filmmaking. Really enjoyed it. Number 2, A. Love it. 3, D. Only because we saw it in 3D. Without 3D, it's an F movie, but with the 3D technology, watching it in 3D, it's a D. 4, A. 5, F. 6, S. 7 is a C. I think the whole movie's boring except for the very end. That ending is worth a C. It pulls it all the way up to a C. 8, Manhattan. F. Jason Goes to Hell, the first New Line. I really love it when franchises do something wildly different. That one for me is a B. 9, 10, X, Jason X. A. I love Jason X. I think it's hilarious, and I've watched it probably more than any other Friday movie. Freddy vs. Jason, D. I loved it when I saw it in the theater. Now, it just feels kind of mean and nasty, and also one of the reasons Rob doesn't like it, I think, is because it's way more of a Freddy movie than it is a Jason movie. I love the Nightmare movies. Something about Freddy vs. Jason seems like it was made by someone who didn't really care for either property. Anyway, doesn't matter, moving on. Last one, remake, D. I love that Ryan Hansen is in it. He's great. The characters are terrible, but the visual is fantastic. That's my list. Thanks for asking, Rob.
I'd be really interested in Ike's list.
I like this. I like that there's an even number of tiers, too, of what it is. Hell yeah, let's watch it. Yeah, I would love to watch it. Yeah, let's watch it. No.
Sick.
I think that's it. I think that's rating the Friday the 13th movies.
I respect
Ranking
you.
them.
I don't respect your lists.
I don't respect you as a person anymore.
We'll always have the dog hut and
Yep.
the grape. Yay.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Say goodnight to Rib.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Go get some water, but don't leave or I will scream. Thank you.